Joshua. I'm good. How y'all?
Good morning.
Depends on what section you put in.
Just got recently. These pants and my dark pants.
Hold up. Libby's got her sleeveless. Aren't you cold? German girls don't get cold. I thought the Dutch girls were tough. Them too.
Our age, no. I'm our age. Not your age, our age. That starts with
I'm good.
What do I say? My favorite color.
Oh, I do this when I have certain days off. I'm not a fan of it.
How you doing, sir? Good to see you, brother.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Tuesday.
It's kind of seeping through the gas can in my nostril. So we got to
You got it, girl.
I watched it.
Are you doing Sunday school too? Sunday school too? Just a little bit?
Yeah,
You're not
we're
teaching.
breaking up. Yeah, we're breaking up. Pastor Pinoka is teaching the first part, then myself.
Right?
Yeah, I've done it. I'm a color man. I'm a fireman. I work really hard.
You missed that?
They're very right now. Oh, I used to live in the Philippines.
Okay.
60 below snow. Wow. One of my friends from there put a spaghetti out, pork up in the air, and I froze it. So you get down yeah. Actually, had two car batteries. Literally frozen car batteries in the crash. So what you gotta do is yeah. And then you really want to get fancy from like under there, right? Like over there. Instead of trying to take the thing off that
The last minute they figured it out. Now the engine heaters, so. Ready?
That presents a whole new set of problems with messing with your cooling system and hoses and everything else. It creates another.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right, let me get this started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. One of the things I love about our church family is we just love to chat and say hi to each other and greet and build relationships. So today's a little different. It's a combined Sunday school, and we're going to be talking about building a culture of biblical hospitality at Berean. And let me start with this. Why does hospitality matter? I want you guys to think about a place that you went at some point in your life where you felt instantly welcome. Let's open it up. I want to know from you guys, what made you feel that way? What made you feel welcome? What made the difference in whatever experience you had where you felt instantly welcome? Go ahead. Somebody just throw it out there.
When we first moved here, Mom and I already knew we were coming here to
Yeah.
the church because we found it. But when we came on a Wednesday night and we walked in, a lot of the people that were here then aren't here now.
Uh-huh.
But it was literally like we had always been coming here. Everyone was so kind and so loving and so caring and willing to talk and willing to tell us everything we needed to know. And so I know for my mom that was really, really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that I'm okay if I sneak in the back door and sit on the back row and nobody says anything.
Right,
I'm
right.
good. But that was just really amazing. And I know that's very important to a lot of people that go to church. They want to feel like they're part of the family the first day they're there.
Yep. So Sherry, for those of you listening online, Sherry shared that when they first came to this church, she, felt immediately loved, and Sherry and Susan felt loved, and they felt the kindness, and that made a big, big difference. Good. What else? And let's get more specific. Paul, what made you feel welcome?
Well, I was going to say quick trip gas stations.
Quick trip gas stations. Okay.
Literally, most of you know I drive rideshare.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm at the point where that's the only place I enjoy going. Why? Because as soon as you walk in, what happens? Does anyone know?
They say hi.
Hey, welcome to Quick Trip.
Yeah.
That's like every time someone comes to the door, they always have one or two employees that say, welcome to Quick Trip.
Yep.
Or just welcome. That's literally, so it's like, and it doesn't matter how many times I do that. It's always a different one too.
Yeah.
All over Phoenix, and they all do the same thing.
Yep.
Where it's like, I enjoy coming into Quick Trip because whether they're just it's a habit or not by that point, but still it makes you feel welcome there.
Mm-hmm. So Paul is saying that at Quick Trip, the first thing they do is they say hi to you, and that makes people feel welcome. Josh.
Okay, so I just wanted to go a step beyond what we initially expect.
Right.
Whether you're a church or a business.
Right.
They're going to treat you with initial respect and kindness. That's just what's expected. And I feel
Right.
a lot of people feel that too. For me, what makes it feel personal is later on when I'm leaving or somebody actually wants to talk to me and be personal.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says they care to take the time out of their busy day to talk to me beyond what they're getting from me.
Yes.
Because whether it's a business or a church,
Right.
I'm paying. And
Right.
I don't want to be treated like a paying customer.
Right.
I want to be treated like a person.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So Josh is saying more than just the initial hello is the continued relationship makes people feel welcome. Pastor Gebhardt.
this is about another church because I've always felt welcomed at Berean. Daughter and her family had been attending a Baptist church, a large Baptist church of over 1,000 people. And we
Wow.
visited there once, met the pastor and the other folks in the church. And then about a year later, we went back for a visit, and the pastor came up to me and said, "Hello, Mr. Gephardt, how are you?" And I was surprised he remembered me after all that time.
Yeah. So Pastor Gephardt talking about visiting a large church and how this pastor of 1,000 people attending this church still remembered that he had visited and remembered his name. Names are a big deal too. I'm bad at names, so it's something I constantly have to work out. Now June's name is really easy because I have a daughter named June, so I think June, and but everybody else is tough, So it's one of those things where you have to work at it. I study the directory once a week. I don't know if you know that, but you might need to study the directory once a week too. And I still forget people's names. Yeah, there's pictures. Yeah, that's why I pictured apart. Okay, did I see? Yes, go ahead. Yep. Yeah, so Jennifer's saying when somebody remembers her name, that makes you feel valued, The fact that you made room for me in your memory, that's a big deal. Okay, so what's the biblical practice of hospitality? Turn to Romans chapter 12, verse 13. This is not going to be a full-fledged Bible lesson because Anthony is on his way up and Eric is on his way up. So Anthony's going to talk about being greeters. Eric is going to talk about ushers and what those roles look like. But what is the theology of hospitality? Romans chapter 12, verse 13. Okay, here's what it says. Distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality. One of the qualifications of a church, one of the biblical qualifications, this is a list of biblical qualifications for a church family. There's qualifications for a pastor, right? And there are qualifications for a deacon, right? Did you know there's qualifications for a church? One of the qualifications for a church is that we are given to hospitality. Hospitality is commanded. It's not optional. Hospitality reflects God's heart towards outsiders. Hospitality is how the church is making people feel like they enter a family when they come in. The church is not a building. It's a group of people that they come into. So biblical hospitality is creating space where people experience the love of Christ before they understand the truth of Christ. Before we give them the gospel, we give them the gospel and how we host them. Hospitality. So that's hospitality for a church. Now, we want to be unreasonable in our hospitality. So number 2 is we go from ordinary to unreasonable hospitality. There's the idea of being friendly enough as a church. But then there's people that do crazy things, like Pastor Rick and his midweek Bible study. Pastor Rick, what did you guys do this week that was unreasonable? You just did it yesterday.
Well, if you all met Ernie and Joseph Carroll and their 2 sons from the Philippines, I bring them to church, the boys for teens, on Wednesday night, and got talking to one of them, David. And he kept saying, I really wish I had a bike. Wish I had a bike. Okay. So I talked to my Thursday Bible class, and we decided to take on a project of buying bikes for David and his brother, Evan. They're all walking in right now. And their friend, Albie, who is another Filipino boy, who comes on Wednesday night. So we took them to Walmart yesterday, and we bought them all bikes and helmets and locks for their bikes. And they were riding around with, I think their smile was bigger than their bike. That was a crazy thing we did.
Do you know what that is? That's unreasonable hospitality. That's beyond friendly. Friendly says hi. Hospitality says you matter to me. Which means hospitality isn't cheap, it's expensive. Not just monetarily, it means it will cost you something. You'll have to sacrifice for it. You just might, hold on, this might split our church. You just might have to give up your seat in church. I know, Baptists act like they rent their seats. Do you know we receive no rent for seats? You go, my tithe is my rent. Well, you come talk to me afterwards. I'll talk to you about a cheerful giver. But all that to say, reality, it goes beyond just being friendly. It sacrifices something for you. So that's number 2. Number 3, we have to create moments people remember. One of the most important things I learned about ministry and hospitality in the last 10 years is this. People may never remember what you said to them. Pastors think everybody hangs on every word I say. Baloney. They forget what you said probably 30 minutes after you said it. One of the things I learned that was more important sometimes than what I say is how you make people feel. People may never remember what you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. If you made them feel marginalized, if you made them feel like they're not important, even if you filled their ears with all the words of Scripture, what does Paul say in 1 Corinthians 13? You could be the best preacher. You could have all the spiritual gifts. You could have all the money and be generous. But if you have love, what do you have? Nothing. Bupkis. That's biblical hospitality. And number 4, hospitality is everybody's calling. The greeters aren't the only ones that are supposed to greet. The ushers aren't the only ones that are supposed to help people find a seat. 1 Peter 4:9 says, show hospitality to one another. That verse was written to the entire church. All of you are on the hospitality team. Each and every one of you, even the little ones, are on the hospitality team. If you're here, you're a host. Sunday morning is not just your service, it's your mission field. We notice people on purpose. And when we find them, we try to make them feel welcome. So sit by somebody you don't know. Pastor Rick was telling me his pastor back in the Midwest used to tell him, if you don't go sit with your friends, if you see somebody sitting by themselves and they're all lonely, go sit next to that person. Stay 5 minutes longer than when the service ends so you can connect with people. I know we're all trying to get to the country buffet, but, we could take 5 minutes. It'll be okay. Might make us wait a little longer when we get to the restaurant, but it'll be fine. That's the idea of biblical hospitality. So with that, Anthony, Brother Anthony, come up. And he's in the he's always cooking something back there. You know what I mean? The guy is a busy guy.
All right, good morning. All right, so I want to discuss a couple different opportunities, and I'm going to call them opportunities. This is a way that you can be not only a blessing, but you can be blessed as well. I'm going to ask that you would consider helping in the greeter / hospitality / new visitor center or our visitor center area. And so our ministry is just as such. It is first impressions. What do you think when you come into any type of establishment that you frequent? What is the very first thing that comes to your mind? It would be the first impression. My kids love McDonald's. Every McDonald's seems like it smells the same. It's because of the oil that they use. Okay, but you can think of other businesses that you frequent, other businesses that you go into, that it's the first impression. It's something that you see the very first thing, and that is our greeters. Miss Melinda is right back, as I can see her through the split of the curtain back there. She is our greeter for this month, and she is the very first face that people see as they come into the doors of our church. And so this is part of the greeter ministry. So what we do is we greet not only our members, but also our visitors. We introduce ourselves. We want to make sure that they feel welcome. As many of you have already stated, that just getting to know people and getting to know a face to a name, some people would say that maybe you're offended by me as I call you sir or ma'am. It's not because I don't know your name. It's because I was in the military. And it's like bred into my brain that that's what you do, sir, ma'am. Okay, so I will try to make it a point to say your name. All right, but our greeters not only greet people as they enter the building, but they also distribute our bulletin. Our bulletin here has a lot of information. This is pretty much a one-stop shop of everything that's going to be happening here the next month. Certain ministries at it even has the order of service on the back. Hopefully every single one of you received one of these. Here on the front, this is a QR code for our connection card online. And so somebody can take their cell phone, pull out their camera and scan this QR code, and it actually takes them to our Connect card, which is a digital form of collecting their demographics of their visit here at our church. So not only does the greeter distribute this information, it's also, and I didn't bring one up with me, and I apologize, we do our handouts here at Berean. We do handouts for our sermons, and so that information is also given. Now, the establishment of an outline. Why do we do handouts here at Berean? We do it not only so you can follow along with what we're saying here from the pulpit in the morning message or the Sunday school time or the adult Bible class time, but also it's a form of self-study. You can take what we have said, what we have put to paper, and take it home and see, and we can't see the verse behind because it's behind the actual sign here, but Bereans were known to go search the scriptures themselves. And so that is the purpose of our outlines and our handouts. So greeters here not only greet people, they not only give out the information of our church, but they also give the handout for our morning messages. Continuing on with our greeters, they also provide various directions to classes. So as people come in the doors, many of our visitors, and this is something that Pastor Benoka, if you remember in his 2026 vision, one of those aspects is creating wayfinding, meaning signs. Where do we go? Who goes where? Where do we need to point people to? That greeter there should be able to know what all classes, what their age groups are, and so forth. So once we establish our team, we have a good team already, but once we add into some additional members, we will make sure that we do some training so you feel equipped to be able to point people in the right direction. So not only the direction of various classes, but also helps and points people to our ushers, and Eric's going to cover our ushers here in a second. But the last thing I want to say is, or there's two other things, is our visitor center. Our greeters and our visitor center are two separate areas. They're not one and the same. Okay, our visitor center, this is where we'll establish all of our visitor packets, our visitor gifts and things like that. As we keep saying, Miss Betty's world famous cookies, right? Those are all placed back there. But once we get all of this operational as far as staffed, fully staffed, because as of right now, who's running that area? Pastor Rick is. And it just so happens that Pastor Rick is also teaching a Sunday school class. So he's doing that and then running to his class and then coming back. So this is where we need some additional help. And the visitor center, again, a friendly face, a warm face to be able to help individuals walk through our visitor packet and our card, give them the opportunity to scan our QR code. We just want to be able to reach as many people as possible. So what we're asking and what we have currently we have a group of individuals that are signed up for our greeter schedule. We are in need of 3 or 4 more families or individuals that would be willing to help out in this area. And so this is something, if you are able to help out here at the church, if you're able to greet, you're able to talk with one another, you're able to conversate with somebody as they come in the door and just be able to point people in the right direction, this ministry is for you. And so I hope that you would consider it not only a greeter, or helping out in our visitor center. There's going to be additional information. Our church is going in a direction pretty quickly. We're rebranding We're doing all of these things that we're just really stepping up our outreach efforts to reach as many people. It's not about building Berean as this major brand. It's to build relationships with families and to point them to our great God. And so we're all trying to do through any of this, whether it be hospitality, whether it be greeting, whether it be ushering, all of this is to not only be organized here as a church, but also to point people to the Lord. So if you would like to be a part of our greeter or our visitor center, please come see me. Let me know so we can put together our full schedule. I already have people in line as far as who's going to be helping in February and so forth. And we'll pass out that information via email and also paper copy today. But you will see that there are some gaps. And so I'm asking for your help. So brother, yes, Pastor Keith.
One suggestion. The first person people see isn't necessarily when they walk in the door. I've met people in the parking lot on the way to the door.
For
So
sure.
if you see one out in the parking lot that you don't recognize, go up and get acquainted. You could be the first person that meets the person.
And don't be like my daughter Sophia, and she would be very upset that I'm sharing this. She almost jumped into a complete stranger's car. So don't do that. All right, Brother Eric.
Good morning. It is great to be batting cleanup, if you will. Since I think there'll be questions after we get through here. But at any rate, wanting to cover the function of the usher group and the group. If you have questions as to who's in the usher group, it's posted on the bulletin inside of the office, but you can check there. But as Anthony was talking about, one of the major things that our church is going to be looking at in the future is church growth. Reaching the community in which we live with a saving message of Jesus Christ. And as ushers, I think we very much need to examine our role and responsibility in this project, if you will. The revised description of the usher's function, and I've given it out to some of you, but those of you who are ushers now, please get a copy for yourself. They're available today. I have them with me. So come up and get one. I didn't get to you, Mark, but at any rate, we'll get those out to each one of you. You know, if we're doing our jobs, and I think Anthony was talking about it, if we're doing our jobs as ushers and as outlined in that position description, we are one of the first people that a new visitor or a member sees when they come through that door. And we might ask, what is the impression that we're giving when people come into that door? Now, I don't have a copy of Anthony's Webster, whatever, 1890, whatever dictionary. The small dictionary I have at home defines an impression as something that has an effect on the mind or feelings. And so the ushers might say, well, geez, I take up the offering now. What else do you want me to do? Well, let's examine that just a little bit and find out. And again, it's outlined in that description that's available to you. I know each of you have had an impression with a first-time visit somewhere. You know, for example, how many of you have a favorite restaurant that you go to? You know, and how did you come to that decision, that's my favorite restaurant? Well, it could have been several things, but they all have to do with impressions. How easy was it to get to? How welcoming were the attendants? Paul, a lot of what you were saying, everyone is saying, welcome to the gas station, if you will. You know, how welcoming are people to you? You know, something made your mind up about what is your favorite restaurant. And those, by and large, are impressions that you had when you went in and ate at that place. You know, Patty and I, my wife and I, had some issues when we first came here about finding a church. And I'll not name the names of the churches, but the first church we went to, the only thing that was said to us was, would you like to buy a seat in our new auditorium? That was the only thing, not hi-bye or anything, but would you like to buy a seat? the next one, no one said anything to us at all except the pastor was holding his newborn grandchild, and everyone was clustered around the pastor. And so we had to sneak out the side to get out of there. But again, impressions are critical, and don't dismiss them. And the impression that we're giving to people as they're here at our church, as they come into our church. And you might say, well, gosh, what does impressions have to do with a church member? Well, let's say the church member got up and he burnt the bacon, and he spilled coffee on his shirt and he had to change his shirt. And some idiot out on Gansel Road came along and about ran over him as he was turning in to come to church. Well, when he comes into church then, depending upon the impression or the greeting that person gets, will determine whether he's going to listen to what the pastor is saying in the message, or whether he's going to sit there and, how did I burn that darn bacon this morning? You know, or that guy in Gansel, I just wish the cops were there. But nonetheless, impressions are critical even to members. Not in addition, the impressions are critical to visitors also. How do we make a visitor feel when they come through the door? Do they feel like they're a part of something that that they're attending something that they want to be a part of? And that depends upon both the greeters and the ushers and the body of the church and how they respond to a visitor, if you will. So what kind of impression do we want to leave with a visitor? What kind of impression do we want to leave with a member as far as that goes? And consider the following things. I think every person that steps through that door needs to be greeted regardless of whether they're a visitor or a member. They need to be said hello to. I think you were saying that, Josh, and also you were saying the same thing about the greeting that you got at the gas station. So at any rate, that's critical that every person be greeted when they come through the door. Make them feel like they're appreciated, and their being here is very important. It's not a casual thing that they got up and decided to come to church. Make them feel important that they're here. I am terrible with knowing names, and in fact, I've told many of you, June, you're laughing. Yeah, I've told many of you. I've told many of you that the only way I can keep track is I've written down names in my phone. And guess what? I left my phone at home this morning. So, hey, if I forget your name, forgive me. But at any rate, greet the guests, if you will, and enter into a brief conversation. Make them feel like they're a part of something. Hi, how are you doing? Are you new to the area? So on and so forth. I mean, you know the conversation, but get into a conversation, a small conversation. You don't want to continue an hour-long dialogue with them. Excuse me. But do get into a conversation with them. Help guests find seats in the sanctuary. This is something that we've been, let's say, remiss in doing. And by the way, it's okay to ask a member to scoot over, if you will, excuse me, to make room for a guest. So the ushers should be doing that as recorded in the outline, the description, position description that you've been given or that is available to you. And also, I think it's very important at the end of the service to go to that visitor, if you will, and again, ask them if there's anything they can you can do to help them, anything you can help explain to them, any questions you might answer for them. But again, make them feel a part of the family. And that's what we as ushers are needing to do. So at any rate, the position description is available. I have begun asking others to be a part of the usher group. And so hopefully we're going to expand that one day in the future when we have to go to 2 services. We're going to need more people doing the usher job, if you will. And so trying to prepare for that before we need it. But at any rate, that's about all I've got to say about that, sir. Do you want to just stay up here? Okay.
All right. And then Brother Anthony is also going to be available up here. Or let's open it up for questions. Is there anything that we said this morning that you have a question about that offended you, maybe you want to yell at me or something like that, that'd be fine. But anything you're curious about, Josh?
I think we can't underestimate the importance of names. So I taught martial arts for many years. And one of
Yes.
the rules of success, and my master taught me, and he's ran the top 3 schools in Arizona for years. He said you have to mention a student's name 3 times in your interaction. When they come in the door, in the middle of class, and when they leave.
Yeah.
And this has been tried and true with even business. It's like people want to hear the name spelled. So I thought, why don't we have an app dedicated to our church directory? Can't tell you how many times I have to go into the church
I
directory.
got good
and look
news
at
for
the name.
you.
Yeah.
We do.
With pictures. Everybody's
With pictures.
Yes.
It's been built. Anthony built it out. And we're just waiting to launch it. You're going to be getting emails. There's a big rollout coming. So stay tuned. Also, Josh gave me a good idea the other week. I think once a month we're going to do what's called Name Tag Sunday. And we're just going to have name tags at the front door. People are going to come in and put a name tag on their shirt or their suit or whatever. And that way, it's always helpful, right? You know, that's the Sunday I go around and I really know everybody's names. And I act like I don't look at it. You know, I look at it in my peripheral. You can do that with me. You can pretend that you actually remember. So, okay. Anything else? Any good question? Good question, Josh. Yes, Paul.
Well, I was just gonna say what helps me. In one sense, being new here, it's a little more difficult because there's just a few of us, but there's all of you guys. But what I do is I realize I can't remember everybody's name. So what I do is I try to pick one person's name per week, and then focus on that word, repeating that one name, and trying to associate that name with the face, and then after that, the next week, and so forth. So
Yep.
you don't have to remember everybody's name all at once, but just work on one per week, and after a few weeks, you start to build up a database in your mind.
Yep. So whatever thing you create for yourself for how you learn, all of us learn names differently. Me, I have to associate the name with like a story or something like that about them, and that helps me remember. So however you learn, that's really good. So I know Paul is from Michigan. He's from Detroit. I know he played on the same basketball hoops I played on when I was a kid, and that's how I remember him. So that's kind of one of the things there. So, all right. Lexi had a question. Why do you have any questions? I mean, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Her question has even been approved by the children's ministry, director. So, all right.
My question or my concern is sometimes when you get through the door, it's like congested or like there's a lot of people right there. And I guess I'm wondering, like, sometimes I didn't even know who the greeter was because
there's so many people
couldn't figure
out
out. Just trying to get through and just trying to, I don't know.
Sweetie, I wish you wouldn't ask hard questions. We'll work on that. How about that? So that's good. Let's jot that down. Anthony, he's the guy heading up greeters. We're also going to figure out those doors there to make sure those doors are a little bit more welcoming. It kind of feels like you walk up to a house. So, want to make sure they know they're walking up to a church lobby. So we'll kind of work on that. But yes, sorry. Tell me your name. Diane. I always miss Diane's name. She's part of our family in the winter. All right. Go ahead, Diane, so the people online can hear you.
My question, I guess, is to Eric.
Eric.
How many people are ushering with you? How many total ushers are there? I know you are because you give me grief every Sunday, but I love his grief.
Yeah.
Right now, there are 10 ushers that are
Really?
assigned, yes. Yes.
And only 4 each service.
Only 4 at each service, yes.
Pastor Gephardt.
Do we have any ushers badges you guys could wear?
We don't now. Maybe we could.
Go ahead, order them.
We used
Okay.
to.
They're on the cabinet inside the office.
Okay. Okay. So there we go. And if we don't have enough guys, order them. All right. Yes, Miss Betty.
I want to say something about greeting. First of all, we pray for new people.
Can't hear her.
Yeah. Oh, let's get a microphone to her, buddy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we pray for new people to come here. And when I see a new person, I am so excited. And I want to say, you've been prayed for. You can't believe this. I'm excited that they come and I want to learn more about them. So I think maybe we need like a greeter and an assistant, because you said you want us to make sure we seat them. It's hard for us to seat them as a greeter when more people are coming in. But if you look at it as a exciting moment when a new person is coming to our church, I mean, what a blessing that is. And I'm like jumping out of my skin. I'm so excited. So, and I want to get to know them, and you can't because people are in line. So
Yeah.
it's just exciting when you see a new person.
Part of that is really connecting the greeters to the ushers, making sure they know how to do
Okay.
handoffs.
So then we need to have ushers
and
here when we get them and they can seat them.
Yes. So so this is why usher name tags will be important. You'll be able to say, "Oh, I see that this might be your first time," which I'll talk about that in a second. You could say, "Hey, Eric, could you help them find a seat?" And Eric is an usher. He'll help you guys have any questions about where to find things. Here's another thing, a big mistake I always made, for years and years of ministry. I would go up to people. We were at a bigger church. We'd go up to people and say, "Hey, so this is your first time?" And they go, "This is my 5th time." And it's so depressing because what you just told them is, "I have not noticed you for 5 weeks and I'm a pastor." And so one of the things I learned to say is, "So how long have you been coming here?" And then they go, "It's my first time." And I go, "Yes, woo!" And all of a sudden we can have a much more positive spin on that. So that's another thing. A smile and asking them, how long have you been coming here? Yeah.
I was saying
Paul.
something that has impressed me, and I've seen this at a few other churches, and I think it works really well to address what you were talking about, is that when they have visitors come in, they give them the visitor card, but on the visitor card, there's like a small little sticky rose. It's like a little felt rose, and they actually put it on their lapel or dress or whatever. And what that does is it's discreet, it looks nice, and everyone can instantly recognize, oh, this is a first-time visitor. Or if they've not, whether they're a first-time visitor or not been there for a long time, they get one of those. That way, because I've gone through the same thing, especially being newer here, have you been here before? You're a snowbird, etc. And I just think it would help everybody identify, hey, this is the first time they're there, so that way we can hone in and, hey, welcome them.
I just wrote your idea down. So we are actually about to get new connection cards. We're going to get some what they're called NFC tags. So on the back of chairs, there's going to be a tag where people can actually tap their phone to the tag, and boom, a digital connection card comes up. We're going to still have the print connection card. But that's a really good idea. We'll see if there's a printer that can do something along those lines.
You have to order them. They're like little sticky cloth roses. Or just maybe a cross.
Some sort of identifier.
And it was red, so it was like you could instantly see the visitors that were there, first-time visitors.
This is what I love about a team, is the team is together much stronger than any one person in the team. So that's why I love brainstorming like this. All right. Yes, Jennifer.
I think delegating responsibilities to the greeter and a greeter's assistant or the deacon isn't necessary, because if nobody knows that that's their job, then it doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, just because it's someone's job doesn't
Mhm.
mean that we don't have responsibility.
Mhm.
So Betty is so excited to see new people come in,
Mhm.
and she's there. She's just kind of
Mhm.
around.
Mhm.
If she's not there, then she doesn't know that they've come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that we can just release ourselves from the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people that we want to talk to. So if we see someone new, we should make eye contact and look to see if they're confused or scared, or if they're bewildered because they don't know where to sit, and not rely on a deacon or an usher to
Yep.
get them to where they're going.
Yeah. This is a church family. It's everybody's house that's in the room. And so when people come into your house, don't you go out of your way to make them feel welcome. So when people are coming into this building, they're coming into your church family's house. So it's all our jobs. We're all on the hospitality team. Okay, it's commanded to all of us. One last question. Sandy's got a question up here, buddy. Could you tell me your name again? Dennis, I forgot his name. What? Peter. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you,
Doing an
Peter.
excellent job.
There was a time when my husband and I were searching for a church, and this particular church that we went to, they had a mindset in their congregation that each time they came to church, they would be prepared to invite someone to their home to share a lunch.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes.
And so when we went to that church, we had several people that asked us, would you like to stay for lunch?
Yes.
It was very personal and it made us
Yep.
very welcome.
I'd love that. I'd love that to be a part of our church. I'd love that we'd naturally, organically do that. Let me tell you about some other things we're doing. I've put Miss Betty over the guest funnel, you could say, the guest process, how somebody goes from parking lot to being more integrated in our church. Once a month, Miss Betty's going to help us host what's called Pizza with Pastors. We're going to invite every guest that came that month and their families to come have dinner with all the pastors and their families, and so that we can get to know them. From there, we're going to invite them to what's called, and I'm starting a new Sunday school class myself as a pastor called Welcome to Berean. It's going to be our newcomers, new members class. And so that's going to help us build a base of newcomers. But before they do all that, we give them the gift. We make them feel welcome in the service. Miss Betty texts them immediately the next day and says, hey, we're so glad we had you. And then they put a copy of that visitor's information in my mailbox so I can text them that week and say, I'm the pastor and we loved having you. And if there's anything we can do to help you, we'd love to come and do anything we can to be a blessing to you. And so there's a strategy, but all that is not nearly as effective as you sitting in the same row, somebody saying, hey, want to go out to lunch we'd love to invite you to lunch. They expect me, right? They're like, you get paid to be nice. You just want my tithes. They don't expect you. Now that would make our church stand out. Yeah. Taylor. Peter, can we get the microphone to so I said it was last question, but go ahead. I already called on him. So he's now, he's going to be really mad if I don't let him follow through. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it out loud, Taylor.
Speaking of the emphasis of the guest cards, if you're sitting next to a person and they're just kind of holding the card and not filling it out, make sure you fill it out, because I've seen guests come and go without filling out a card. So that would be important for the outreach as well.
Yeah, do everything you can to encourage them. You never want to force a guest to do something they're not comfortable doing, and so that's not a good feeling. But you do want to say, hey, we'd love to know more about you and have follow up with you. And so if you can encourage as much as possible, but be careful not to force. All right, let's pray. Thank you guys for listening, and I appreciate that everybody has a heart of hospitality. This is a very warm and kind church. Yes?
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, Melinda.
I have giving statements back here for everybody. If you haven't picked it up yet, please pick it up in the break or on your way out. So they'll be back here today and do the service.
Melinda is our church treasurer, and she does a phenomenal job keeping everything in order. Let's pray, and then... Yes, Mark.
She didn't have a microphone, and I know what she said.
Yeah, let me repeat it. Thank you. Good call, Mark. Melinda said the giving statements are in the back table in the lobby, and if you didn't already pick yours up, please come pick it up today, okay, so that you have that for Mr. IRS. Let's pray, and then we'll transition to our morning service. Lord, thank you so much. Father, I pray for Anthony as he preaches in this morning service, that you'd fill him with your spirit, that you'd fill him with your power. We are privileged as a church to have so many able preachers around here. Father, I pray that you'd give our church a heart of hospitality and welcome. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
So,